2-0. Job done, expected win, but it wasn't convincing. But it didn't need to be, right? Another slow first half, huff, puff, and yet it was an almost perfect weekend. And the table says Town are closing in on the top two. So tonight, are Ipswich building towards that top two finish? Wins over performance, winning while playing badly. That's always a good thing, right? Or plastering over cracks in our play. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Talking Town. And I'm going to get straight in with Mr. Phillips. Matt, you were with me on the Match Reaction show. You've had time to think about it and sleep about it. Town got the win, 2-0, but it wasn't convincing. Are you encouraged by the result or concerned more about the performance, perhaps papering over those cracks I alluded to in the intro there?
Yeah, I'm still concerned about our first half performances. 100% I am. And it was interesting that McKenna also said this in the post-match interview, didn't he? We had discussions after Stoke, try and get off to a better tempo in the first half. We saw that for a little bit, didn't we? We saw a glimmer of that. I mean, we kind of, didn't we say, Martin, after the Stoke game, we were like talking, what is the tactic going out there? It can't be to slow the game down so much that, we're not giving ourselves an opportunity to play to our strengths. So he gave us a little bit of a window into that. And we did start off 10, 15 minutes. I thought we was good. I mean, Lee, you come in a minute. You was there. But watching at home, I thought we started well. But soon, as we discussed yesterday, we drifted to type a little bit. And it's turned into that performance we saw at Hull. We often mention this, don't we? I often think this is the blueprint to try and contain the opposition away from home to a point where our bench can impact late in the second half. And you saw it yesterday. Ivan from the bench, 78. And then obviously the Jack Clark penalty. So, yeah, I'm still concerned that the first half isn't strong enough.
So why are we starting games like that? Because that's now a theme. Is it a concern, or is it actually, Matt, a tactic perhaps of game control, keep it tight, and then we'll launch ourselves into a second half where we can be the more proactive when the game is more tighter? Obviously, Stoke got a little bit out of hand, and that is the danger, the downside of a more proactive, a more reactive, a more defensive first half, perhaps.
Yeah, I think exactly. It's exactly that. As I said earlier, it's that whole blueprint: containment, negate their attack. Not really, because I don't feel like it's. Well, but as a supporter, I don't personally feel like we're playing to our strengths. I mean, you just saw the Stoke first half and second half was night and day. Because that was needs must, wasn't it? You're suddenly playing catch up. You're 2-0 down. Shows you that we've got that in the locker. Now, McKenna might say to us, well, to play that style from the start would be foolish and to leave ourselves exposed. But I mean, sometimes we leave ourselves exposed, as the Stoke's first half showed, with mistakes, which we have discussed all the way through the season, haven't we? I mean, even, the other night at Stoke City, away games like Wrexham, we saw mistakes. I'd rather we just play to our strengths, really. But by the same token, results are now conspiring to help us out, because after Stoke, we were crestfallen and thinking it's no longer in our hands. A couple of Borough games later, it's back in our hands. It's back in our hands.
Very much so. We are closing on that top two. Andrew Collier, we all want us to be successful, obviously, and we've come miles in a few years. I have great respect for McKenna. I want to keep the faith. Burns is injured. Rob Smith is mentioning in our live chat. We're going to come to that, I'm sure, throughout the course of the show. We've got loads of great comments coming in. Do keep them coming. I'll drop a link as well. But Lee, you were there, as Matt said. You were encouraged when we spoke this morning about the result, but not the first half, as Matt was. Overall, I felt it was a little bit huffy and puffy. We had a lot of the ball, as we should, against a side that's got a minus points figure, had the season they've had, got the player quality that they've got. So does that performance kind of concern you a little bit as we come into the business end and we close in table position-wise on the top two? Got to be better, surely, first and foremost.
Well, I think it's what you've just asked there is probably similar to what you've just really asked Matt, isn't it? About, being a bit better first half and a bit more consistent throughout the game. I think that's really the key. It almost feels like we have to be wronged, either go a goal down or be wronged before we step up that extra gear. You mentioned the Stoke game, the second half, where we got on it straight for second half and turned them a lot and stuff like that. I just feel that maybe the first half we're just really trying to. It's almost like the mentality is, well, we've got plenty on the bench. We've got 90 minutes. let's not give nothing away. But I think we should certainly be doing more first.
So are we
half.
overthinking it a little bit? Do you think? Do you think as we come up to the business end, we're starting to overthink it a little bit? Be that management or players or both?
I think it's been pretty much all season. I don't think it's got anything to do with it. We're getting towards the end of the season. I think it's just, it seems to be the pattern on many of the games. But looking at the overall picture, picking up the last point of your question, we are clawing it back. If, Matt mentioned last week, what was it, Middlesbrough won 5 or 6 of their first 7 or something like that. Look how many points we would have been behind. We would have been 14 points or something adrift of them at the time. And we've slowly eked away the points total. We've got ourselves in a better position than we spoke this time last week. We're in a better position because the games are ticked off, and we've pulled points back, I guess. So I think little by little, it's slowly, we're just doing enough over a period of games without being sensational. We're not really going out and doing teams over 3 or 4-0 and being really, really good on the ball and such like. But I just wonder with yesterday's performance, if we'd have been playing away at Southampton or away at Norwich or the real big games we've got coming up, whether or not we would feel a little bit better because we were playing what we would class as fans as a better side. Just that, Sheffield Wednesday are having like the worst season ever in the Championship doesn't mean they're going to come out and roll over and not give in. But because I thought they had some useful players that could have hurt us had we not kept that discipline. And when we've gone goals down and we've managed the game poorly and we've lost 2 or 3, we've lost 2 goals really quickly, it's all bad game management. And then when we flip it around the other way, it's we haven't done enough. Now, I think there's a happy medium in there in the middle. But if we're going to keep picking up 2-0 wins now towards the end of the season, we're going to be there or thereabouts. And I just feel that defensively, we're looking a little bit better. We're not conceding many goals again now. So yes, it's stopping us going forward. So we're not going to get the 4-3s like we did 2 years ago. But if we're going to keep, we've got 9 games left. If we're going to keep 7 or 8, if we can keep 6 clean sheets out of them, then we're going to be pretty much about there, aren't we? So yeah,
and I think that's the key, right? Stoke kind of although we rescued it back, it kind of got away from us a little bit. Went 2-0 down, and the approach, whether it be from management, from players, from both, whether it be as the business, end of the season starts to bite. Defensive errors really undo the plan, but you're right. We have been defensively more solid, more in control from the chaos that was Wrexham. But of course, when you keep it close, Matt, and you keep it at 0-0 and you take it into the second half, that's when the subs bench becomes such a really powerful thing. Something Kieran McKenna has traditionally used to his advantage, but he can only use it if there's players there that can really be the ace card that he can slam down on the table and play the same way you play any card in a game of cards. Wes Burns' injury then yesterday maybe felt twice as much. And I know you yourself were really worried in regards to what that may mean for the bench, whoever that may be, moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, Egley didn't have the best of games yesterday, did he? I always say I don't want to get too down on him because he's 19. But by the same token, you watch Everton Arsenal yesterday, you got Max Dowman, who's only just turned 16, putting in those kind of performances, and he's 3 years younger. It's dangerous to compare these players, obviously, but Egley comes with a big price tag, as we've discussed throughout the season. But that's a lot of money for a kid who just seems to be very one-footed to me, and flattered to deceive yesterday, and was subbed at half time. So for me, I would continue keep playing Burns there, and as we said yesterday, Sod's law is he comes off with an injury. Don't know what the extent of that is. I don't know if there's been any updates on that. So you're now going to be leaning on kind of Egley and McAteer, both of which have had criticism from the supporters. I mean, Wes has been fantastic since he come back into the side, hasn't he? The year out, hits the ground running pretty much, comes back, scores against Coventry. It's been really good. I would have said up until his injury yesterday, there'd been probably an argument just to keep him in the 11. The same that O'Shea always plays, the same that Bolton always plays, Battersea always plays. I think there's an argument there just to keep Wes on the right-hand side, to be honest with you. Been there, done that, got the shirt, double promotions. But we're not going to have that luxury. Maybe it won't be as bad as what we're fearing. But yeah, you're going to be leaning on Egley and McAteer a little bit. Both have been short of confidence, I feel, across the whole season, really.
This is it. And obviously, Jason Dazelle is still the youngest player to score. I can't understand why you want to remove a part of your history as a top division. I know it's a different name, and that's really what it comes down to, right, Matt? It's a different name, and that's why it's
rebranded.
You have removed a huge part of your footballing history. And normally, divisions and elite levels, like the NFL, for example, and other top sports organizations, they revere history. They want to keep it. They want to embrace it hundreds of years, etc., etc. I can't understand why you'd want to remove it just because it's a different name. So as Town fans, we'll still proudly know who the youngest player truly is. In regards to the topic we were talking about just then, does this feel like a team in control or a team just getting through games? Do let us know in our live chat. Higgy, if Wes is out for any length of time, we're knackered. Bjorn, I've had a voice message from Bjorn in a long time, and every time I open my voice message inbox, I feel sorrow that I've not heard a Bjorn voice message, or at the very least, a simple game's gone. And we'll get to a game's gone key point later in the show. It's about Leif Davis. Game's truly gone. But Bjorn says also at this point of the season, it's all about points. There's no pictures on the league table. AB Carbs, who yesterday reminded us that, you know, in regards to Egley and Messi and Egley, not quite sure they belong in the same sentence, but AB Carbs went there. We'll follow it. We'll go through that door with him. Says McKenna makes great subs apart from Wrexham and Charlton. We've been the better side in most second halves. As Mark, I know it's always ifs, buts and maybes, but I do feel like yesterday should have been 6 wins from 6 rather than 4 from 6. Hope those 4 points don't prove crucial. Matt, you said Town want control first halves, but the problem is defensive mistakes, slower tempo. Has the Wrexham game then sort of scarred Town a little bit in the sense that was such a chaotic second half where it went from 3-2 to 5-3, walking away with 0 points. Every point, to borrow a catchphrase, and I will give it back to from an ex-manager, every point is a prisoner. We've gone the other way a little bit, and it's now about being pragmatic and just being in control, however long that has to be, before we can be McKenna-esque, if you like.
Well, I think it's a funny one, isn't it? Because between those games where we've shipped 5, Wrexham 3 against Stoke, well, I mean, we have been kind of defensively sound. Clean sheets at Watford, Swansea yesterday. So it's either one or the other, it seems to me. Generally, the catalyst for the avalanche of goals in our net is generally our own kind of errors, as you know, as we keep saying, as Stoke kind of identified that a little bit, didn't it? I just feel like
it's confidence.
I don't know what the answer is to that, to be honest with you. We've seen it all season, really, haven't we? I mean, we've said before, probably in the history of Talking Town, when we was in League One, we used to say sometimes teams don't have to try too hard to score against us. And that was before the McKenna era, really. I just feel like we're probably not playing to our strengths, is my take on it. Certainly offensively in the first half. I feel like probably Town yesterday, had they upped the ante a little bit more, as they had done, you know, say they was in second, say it was in third gear, right? First 10, 15. They suddenly shifted into the fourth gear. We could have had them 2 goals before the break. And then you just consolidate in the second half. And as we've seen that lots, haven't we, at Portman Road, when Philogene got us off the mark early doors. And then the second half just becomes a shutting down exercise, almost like a training ground exercise defensively. We've not really had that luxury away. We've just kind of consolidated the first half, haven't we? And then we pounced with the bench in the second half. We saw it yesterday. We saw it at Hull. We've seen it in some other games as well. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. Millwall 0-0 Boxing Day. We were quite good defensively in that game, but we couldn't get it over the line goal scoring wise, could we?
So in that regard, if you don't go through to Gearsley, and they always say when teams are relegated, the pressure comes off and suddenly they start playing a different way, and people say, oh, why didn't they play that way all season long? So in that regard, Is it a little bit about players being over-patient more than it comes from the management, in that sense of players not willing to take that risk, where there could be a through ball on, it's a 60-40 chance. You might take that more times than not, but as the stakes become higher, as it becomes so close, you don't take it. You turn around, you lay it back to your teammate, and you reload and you go again. Is it more about players perhaps being too cautious, too patient?
Well, I think it's a little bit of, probably easy to say, sit on the fence. It's a little bit of everything. I think when you have Nunes in the side, he's always looking for that forward pass. So you've got to think about what players you've got playing in certain positions. I think Kudus, for example, he's always thinking to go forward, and I think you've got to select the right passes. I think when Matt was speaking, I wrote down some phrases like safe, and you mentioned risk, taking the risk. I don't think it's too much the risk. I think we take the risks, particularly from Walton out into midfield when we're then trying to knock the ball wide. I think really what it is when we're playing against a low block, it's the execution. And I come back and say it again, it's trying to force that ball through the middle, and we're all expanded out and we're all nice and wide and trying to make the pitch big. I sound like a broken record. And if we lose the ball in those key areas, we're going to get counted on. And I think what we're seeing this season is team, and Matt's just alluded to, I guess, is that teams will know that we're going to give them an opportunity. Most managers will be saying, we're going to play this way, we're going to play the system, we're going to press them here, there, and that, because they will give you one or two opportunities. And it's how we counter it, it's how when we win the ball, make them the best of those chances. And I think that plays into the hands. I think because I've said before, I think before we've been really one-dimensional, particularly first half. If we mix it up a little bit more, we're not one-dimensional, then the team talk from the planning from the opposition is different, because they're thinking, they can play it through midfield. If we sit, if we push up, we can stop that, but they're going to play it over the top because they've got Burns running in behind. The strikers were making diagonal runs in the channels. Then you've got two problems to think about. If we keep playing one way, the only way what seems to be happening is we seem to churn out the first half when they're not tired. And then as the game naturally opens up, as the tie starts, they start making subs and that, we generally find the game opens up and we generally, more often than not, finish better. So I think that's the way it seems to go. So I think we missed Nunes yesterday. I do. Because he's looking to always make that forward, I say Hollywood pass, not always Hollywood, but he just sprays the ball from that position a lot better than others, and we can break the lines more. I just think it's just that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Nunes does absolutely bring a huge part to the town attacking machine and taking those risks, if that's the way you want to phrase it. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If you want to come and join us towards the back end of the show, please, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll try and get a couple of fans on, time permitting, and try and just ask you a couple of questions in regards to how you feel and what you think about your football club. On the other side, I've got a voice message and we'll look at the promotion race. But for just a few minutes, here is a quick word from one of our partners. We've partnered with Match Bingo to give you a 100% deposit bonus when you use the word town all in caps. That's TOWN, town all in caps, for a 100% deposit bonus. Deposit minimum is £10, and while bonus cash can't be withdrawn, the winnings, they absolutely can be. So play Match Bingo, win cash prizes, over 18s only. Terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. How you play? Scan the QR code on the screen next to their logo or hit the link in the description. He's a handsome devil, that person there who reads that. He really, truly is. He is. I've got a great comment from Nigel here. Why don't we swap our wingers over? Clark and Jaden can use their right foot and Egley going to use his left. Great comment. Burns is our best right winger. There's no doubt for me. He says, Bjorn, Emily, it feels like it could be the season of making it through if we compare it to our last promotion season. Craig, even including Wrexham, we've got 14 points from 7 games. I like those scars, says Craig. Right, promotion talk, top 2 talk is coming right up. I've got a voice message first of all. I love this voice message. Going to play it Here we go.
Karma, whatever you want to call it. Yesterday's results elsewhere have really given us a helping hand and a great chance to get that top 2 place. Come on, Town. Although I can't help thinking about the what ifs though. If those poor refereeing decisions had gone our way and we'd picked up those 4 extra points, we'd be just 5 points off Coventry with a game in hand, if my maths are correct. That would be a completely different situation to what we're in now. But there's no point dwelling on the past, I suppose, and what might have been. Bring on Millwall. Let's get the job done and cement our place in that top 2, and let's push on.
Great voice message. Legals at speakpipe.com/talking town. We'd all be talking about potential title running as opposed to a top 2 or a second place running as it is. Borough, drop points. Are they having the start of their wobble? Millwall, they also dropped points. However you may feel about the decisions in that game, we've been there, Millwall fans. We feel your pain. But Matt, so Town, sitting in third, 68, 2 away from Middlesbrough. Game in hand. Millwall up next. Middlesbrough still to come to Portman Road. Surely it's advantage Ipswich, despite it being all week like it wouldn't be. It's firmly advantage Ipswich, surely.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And a returning Philogene as well. I mean, we've missed him for the last dozen games at Portman Road. That's where he scores all these goals, for one thing. Yep. So hopefully it won't take him too long to get back into the groove and hit some of those shots that we've seen on the left side of the box, because they've been a real catalyst for us, haven't they, in our home form? Yeah, I mean those 2 big games. Obviously, there's other games around them, isn't there? But yeah, Millwall to come, Borough to come in April. You'd want those at Portman Road, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about some of the frailties of our away form. As Rich Chandler put earlier, we were discussing this yesterday, weren't we? Well, I think we've probably accrued the most points since October. Taking into account August and September were dodgy months for us in terms of just drawing games, not picking up 3 points. Again, highlights, quite a weak division, I think. Highlights.
Margins. Have the margins now widened? Because we talked midweek as well about margins being narrower and getting shorter, obviously ahead of Charlton versus Middlesbrough. But surely after those 2 games, the margins have now widened a little bit to the sense of game in hand, Middlesbrough to play, Millwall up next. They are all must win, but in an equal way, then they've also got the margin of error that you didn't have Wednesday night 7:30.
No, well, we haven't got margin for error in that Borough week either, have we? Because what comes before that, East Anglian Derby on the 11th, then it's on the 14th, Pompey. Yeah. 2 huge. I mean, that I've said it before. That is the season-defining week, I believe.
It's huge. But
it's going to be nervous times going into that game at Southampton on the 28th before QPR at the start of May, because Southampton, it could be a packed-out crowd knocking on the door of the playoffs. They might be trying to cement their place in the playoffs at that game. So, again, that's huge. But I suppose if the prize at the end of it is the Premier League, you're not going to get any gimmies, are you? You've got to go through the fire to get to the other side, I guess. So, you see, I mean, it's easy just to look at Millwall and Borough in isolation and guess these are the huge games, but there are huge matches around those as well, and where we can't afford to slip up. Otherwise, then you lose your advantage that you're talking about here.
So Matt says season-defining week, obviously Saints, Norwich, etc. Do you agree with that, Lee? Matt's saying he's nervous. Many Town fans will be. I'm sure you probably are as well, a little bit. But equally, you've always said this is the strongest squad. You've not seen a squad come to Portman Road that you wouldn't choose over the one we have. And with those tough games coming up, Saints away, Millwall up next, Middlesbrough, Norwich away, always a tough place. They're looking at the playoffs. Please, Lord, whatever happens this year, please. But is it that belief? What gives you that belief that we've got the strongest squad? And is it that belief that you're really just being, fueled by?
Well, I think the belief comes that when you watch all the games that we've watched, all the home games, I've seen all the away games, some in person, most not, and you look at it and I still believe that it is about us. I can't see teams that, when we played in the Premier League, there were teams that were just better than us. They're just better. I don't see that in the Championship, and I see us. We are now in the position where we had such a slow start to the season compared to who we're now competing against in terms of Coventry and Middlesbrough. The points that we've pulled back over that time, whether or not we're going to have enough to get over the line over the next 2-3 games, it's exciting to see. but it is really about. I still maintain it. It is about us, and I think if we can win 7 of the last 9, we avoid defeat. If we win 7 of the last 9 and they come against Middlesbrough, and 2 of those come against Middlesbrough and Millwall, then I think we've got a great chance. As Matt says, we've got some real tricky away games. Norwich and Southampton are the two that just glare out. But knowing Ipswich, but the championship is that tight, and I don't agree with Matt on the it's a poor championship. I think it's more competitive. So with that, I don't think that makes it poorer. I just think it makes it more interesting and a great league to be in. So yes, there aren't teams. Well, there are teams pulling away, but there's a couple hanging on to the shirt tails this season. I think we're used to the Premier League, so I guess might be Matt. I guess where you're coming from, Matt, is that the football isn't always fantastic in terms of that, but you get engrossed in what you're watching. It's competitive. You can fall if you're not on your game, and we're not on our game. If we're not on our mettle for the last 9 games, then we're going to get turned over a couple of times, particularly away from home. But I think if we can get the positive result we want against Millwall, we've got some injuries. We've got that. We've got an extended. I think we've got an extended international break for us because of the bank holiday weekend. We've got a little bit longer, so we've got a little bit of time to lick our wounds and have that rest and prepare for the final run of games. I think if we were still back to back up to that point of all those extra games we've got to play, I think we could, the squad would be tested beyond its capability, I think, because we'd pick up more injuries.
Do situations like yesterday really give you more confidence in the group? And what I allude to is a conversation we're coming to next about games gone. Leif Davis will come into that situation next. But first of all, Ben Johnson had to step in. Does that give you confidence? Because he came in, played really well. And as you rightfully said to me, Lee, he's had so many Premier League appearances. We shouldn't have been surprised. And you weren't surprised. Does that give you the confidence as well? Because you enjoyed his performance yesterday, as did Matt on the Match Reaction show. But tell me what you really enjoyed about Ben Johnson's performance. And what a cross, by the way. What a cross.
Yeah, it's interesting, the cross. You won't get that from Leif Davis because it's on his other foot.
Absolutely.
Because he's crossing on his right foot, so it's got a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about our inverted wingers. That if you sort of think about it, the way McKenna's clever, we've got full-backs that play their natural foot because a lot of the time they're going to be playing a forward pass when the ball's coming to them from inside the pitch. So that makes sense. You've then also got the combination where you've got your wingers who can come inside and cross with their cross from the opposite foot. So you've got in-swinging crosses and you've got out-swinging crosses. So I think someone made a point earlier about swapping them over. I think the reason he won't is because you can whip 2 different types of crosses in. You're not setting one type of cross, and I think.
Well, Egley can't, though, can he? Because Egley's
only got. He does. Well, so he doesn't from deep. No, he doesn't. But what he does do, if he gets enough of the ball, he will come inside 2 or 3 times, and then he'll dart down the outside. All the games he does do it, particularly when he's around the edge of the box. He'll look like he's going to cut in, and he'll cut down. He will cut down the outside. Does he do it enough? I don't know. You can say the same about Jack Clark. But he cuts in a lot. But that's the position that you're playing. That's what he's being asked to do. If he cuts in and then the left footer goes outside Clark, then you've got that other cross. So yeah, I mean Egley needs to mix his game up more. I get that. But just going back to Ben Johnson, I think there were times yesterday where the combinations weren't as fluid as when Leif Davis was there. So I think that will improve if he's got another, if he's got another couple of games to come. I think what we saw yesterday that gives me confidence, and forget the level of the opposition. There's still 11 players there. They've got football boots on. They're professionals and they can kick a football to a reasonable standard. So they can properly hurt you if you're not on your game. I think we didn't give a lot away, and I think McKenna mentioned it in his post-match reaction. We kept going. Yes, we would like to have taken some of the chances, a couple of chances we had earlier, done a little bit better with those. But we didn't give them a lot. And that seems to be, putting the Wrexham game to one side, maybe the Stoke game to a point. For since then, most of the majority of the time, we've limited the opposition to very few chances. And if we're going to go and get positive results in the away games, particularly Southampton and Norwich, we're going to have to bring that to the table. We can't rely on our forwards going to outscore Southampton and Norwich and other teams away from home. And even say Middlesbrough at home. These are all big games. And going back to the start of the first question you asked me, I said about I feel more confident with the defence. I'm more confident with the defence because we're limiting the chances. But to limit the chances and be more and not exposing the defence, we've got to be better with the ball, particularly first half when the game's tight. So we're not getting done on the counter. So I, it's there. The building blocks are there. They should be. I'm confident.
Excellent. Lots of love in our chat for your opinions. We've got Richard Chandler. Lee is bang on. It's not weaker. It's more competitive because anyone can beat anyone. Unlike last 2 seasons, it's going to be the toughest points ever to get relegated. Well, myself, the Wednesday fan, Chris, and I think Matt disagree. I don't think it's a good lead, but we'll move on. Bjorn, Lee is spot on. Just focus on us. And to be fair, McKenna seems to use that as his philosophy. Shabby, you only need to look how decent a squad on paper can go down the pan. Look at Leicester. Right. Game has well and truly gone, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't think it's gone before, you definitely think it's gone now. Where it's gone, I couldn't tell you. I just wish we could find it. Matt, Leif Davis, 3-game suspension announced Friday evening, retrospectively, for what? I don't know. What's your thoughts on this one? Because I just think it's absolutely... Give me Sean Dyche saying the game's gone 101 times and then it's still not enough. It's a travesty.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, isn't it? Seems completely innocuous at the time. And like Mark Ashton said on BBC Suffolk, I mean, you see this all the time in the box from set piece, from a corner.
So yesterday.
He said it was like WWE wrestling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the size of Davis to that Acoli, the Italian lad at Leicester, who's the one who ends up on the floor.
He's a good player, by the way.
Yeah, he's a very good player. And as you rightly said to me, Ryan, the linesman's on that side of the pitch anyway. I mean, if they thought there was a red card challenge, incident, whatever you call it, in real time, then call over the referee. But yeah, really frustrating. Yeah.
And what do you think we're going to miss? I mean, the thing with Leif is defensively, we all know what Leif is like defensively. It's his attacking ability that he really brings to it. We aren't going to see a system change. You saw a little bit of, as we've just been talking about there, Ben Johnson yesterday. Is Ben Johnson going to be the answer for the next 2 games? Because obviously game 1 of the 3 has been already served. And also the timing of it. Friday night. Now, the club may have been told Thursday. It may not have been. Let's just go on the basis they're told half hour before we're told. Right? That in itself is wrong. When you've been planning something for a week, possibly longer. Oh, and by the way, you can't use him. Like, the timing and how the town cope with it. Is it going to be Ben Johnson or a committee? How do you see it going on?
I think it will be Johnson, and for the reasons Lee rightly gave earlier. I mean, he gives you... I mean, look, people love Leif Davis. He's part of the furniture at Ipswich. No one ever really wants to see him out of the side. But as Lee said, he's kind of limited in his cross, and some of the crossing you saw yesterday from Johnson, like the one that led to the goal, he can cross with his right foot if needed. So it does give you a slightly different take on the crosses. That's a really good point. I would imagine Ipswich, from what reading between the lines of what Mark Ashton was saying on the radio, I think Ipswich had been given a heads up this was coming earlier in the week from the FA. The FA would have told them probably a few days in advance, thinking back to my own experience into these things. Then it becomes public. But incredibly frustrating for us. I mean, look, no, I never picked up on that. Did you, watching the Leicester game? But I never picked up on that being a thing, and just seemed to see the irony of it, of course, is that if they had seen it and just thought it was a yellow card challenge, then that can't be rescinded, and it's seen as John Busby dealing with the incident there and then. But the fact that he didn't even, no match official even thought it was card worthy at the time, has come to bite us on the bum, because then suddenly you can take it to the FA, and it can become a red.
We did also have the Ashton conversation, and I want to ask you about that, Lee. What did you make of the Mark Ashton interview just ahead of what could be described as our easiest remaining game of the season, possibly.
What comment
in terms of it's a great time to have an interview, isn't it? I mean, you were expected to beat each other Wednesday. It's not like you're playing Southampton away. It's a great time to have an interview. And how did you see that or hear that interview?
I see. Right, yeah. That's a bit of a conspiracy theorist there, I guess. It's a good, I mean, it was a good time because it was, I think it was a good time because of the wrongs that we're feeling with the refereeing decisions. It was a good time for Ashton to come out, and whatever we say about the club and everything, Ashton has got the club, the fans, the players, everything, at the forefront of what they're doing, and he's going to protect Leif Davis and such like. I guess the problem is, I think it's the way that the process has panned out over the last 3 games that we've been wronged. And then, we might have got away with one, but we've still then been wronged after that. So, for example, the Kipri suspensions, and I think he sort of alluded to, but not gone into great detail because he probably can't.
No, it was all about hear my tone, wasn't it? It was hear my tone. So you could understand how he felt about it because he couldn't talk about it. Yeah. So it was about the tone of his voice.
Yeah, but the reason for that is, I think if you look at if you separate out Leif Davis and talk about the Kipri incidents. So the first one was, we're incensed that we should have had 2 penalties. You can do nothing about that. People can look at it, the referee association, whoever it is, can look at it and say, look, we've reviewed it. You should have had 2 pens, right? Kipri gets booked, right? He's booked for dissent. So that's fine, right? He's booked for dissent. He should know better. Even if he's been wronged, you shouldn't get booked for dissent. Now, the second one, where he's conceded a penalty that wasn't a penalty, when they've come out and said it's not a penalty, the rules are stupid because you can't rescind yellow cards. But that yellow card has got him a 2-match suspension. So there's a difference there. So where if the managers or the referees association, whatever it is, comes out and said, sorry, you should have had it shouldn't have been a pen, then that yellow card needs to be rescinded. The problem with that is, again, it's got to be the referee on the night says, I've reviewed that, I've been shown it. Had I seen that angle, I wouldn't have given a red card. Oh, sorry, I wouldn't have given a penalty. We would rescind. At that point, that yellow card should be rescinded. And let's not forget, Kipre got booked at Blackburn in the game that was abandoned. Yeah, everything else is wiped out apart from the yellow card. So I think what Ashton is, if you're breaking it down, I think that would be some of his frustration. But he voted for VAR in the when it was in the Premier League, and we've been smashed by that. He's now. I think he said he's voted for this.
Yes, interestingly enough.
Yeah, to drive revenue, I can see that. But I mean, that's a separate issue. But I think that's, in terms of protecting the club, that's where I think he's wronged. But you've got to take them in isolation and treat them as matter of fact. And the Leif Davis one is, the matter of fact actually is what I've just explained. But the Kipri one, the second booking on the penalty that shouldn't have been, there needs to be a new law written for that and rescind those, because that has an impact. That has an impact further down the line. If he's booked for dissent, keeps it. You could always argue the Blackburn one. He's committed a foul during the game, then maybe that should stay, because if it's foul play, I mean, you don't rescind a red. If someone punches someone, or if someone pulls someone's hair and pulls them to the ground, then and it's the game's abandoned, he still had violent contact, so the person should still be punished, in my view. So, just trying to break them down and just trying to be a little bit matter of fact with them. But yeah, a good time for Ashton. It was nice to hear from him. I enjoy listening to him. A bit more meat on the bones around. We've only just got started. We've heard that for 3 seasons now. We're a little bit more than that. I think hopefully, I think he alluded to, there's some plans to come out about the stadium redevelopment, which will excite us. And it's whatever happens this season, it's still a great time to be a Town fan.
It is, and I start the piece off tongue in cheek, Matt, of course, because with the timing, it's very tongue in cheek, because I actually really like Mark Ashton. I don't agree with everything he ever says or the decisions that are made, but I do like him. Comes across as somebody who really cares and actually is really genuine. what were your thoughts on the piece? Because I made you listen to it, which normally I'd feel guilty about, but I thought it was really good. I thought you should not just read the highlights or the takeaways from it. I thought you should listen to it. Having been made to do so, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering whether or not it was going to be some kind of club propaganda, but I thought it was a really good listen. I didn't kind of agree with how it started in terms of he was saying that we should be 4 points better off because of the refereeing decisions or whatever. I mean, look, Ipswich did have 90 minutes in each of those games to actually score an open play with plenty of chances or not make defensive errors that cost us, like in the Stoke game.
True.
So he was there was a little bit of bias there, I think. I mean, certainly what he was talking about was avoidable if we'd done the business at the business end of the pitch. But to business off the pitch, I thought it was a really good. Listen. It sounds like to me you're going to get that cobbled stand sooner rather than later, I think, in terms of how the conversation has been with the local council. When you consider the footprint of the cobbled stand into the old cattle market, Portman Road car park, is pretty small. Both organisations, the club and the council, have plans for that area. I just wonder if they're going to come forward at pretty much the same time. I can't imagine the council are going to build their aqua centre and the multi-storey car park. Then you're going to close down Portman Road in order to bring the stand back. It sounds like to me, he did say, didn't he? We've both got objectives there that need to dovetail together. So it seems to me, given how small that area is, I feel like maybe that could be all delivered at the same time. Interesting. We'll just have to wait.
I mean, I'm absolutely ready for it. As I think all people who sit in the cobble stand are. We are absolutely ready for it. We'll be heartbroken to lose it. It's at home, but we're ready for it. We ain't got no hot water or any water most weeks, actually.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting that he said that when you give it all the success that we've had and what a great time we've had, and there's been some down times like the Premier League campaign, but in terms of the journey to get there, and he said it was just kind of in its infancy, is interesting to me. And of course, he mentions Bournemouth and Brentford as being models of clubs that they would like to emulate. And of course, they had more time in the Championship to prepare to be mainstay Premier League clubs, which they are. I mean, since they both went back up, neither have come down, have they? And we obviously only had a season in the Championship before we found ourselves in the Premier League. That's how good we were. So, I mean, great. I mean, the training ground's going to be done in June. Like I say, he alludes to the cobbled stand, other sort of place-making portfolio things that are coming that he said he didn't want to talk about. So I think we're in a really great space. I mean, we're in a much better space than loads and loads of other clubs. And, we were talking on there, weren't we, about, Lee was saying what Hillsborough was like and our opposition yesterday. I mean, fair play to all the Sheffield Wednesday fans still getting behind their side that's been relegated in February, pretty much. When Game Changer came in, they said we was on our knees, weren't we? Lack of investment. The ground was in disrepair, and just look what's happened over the last few seasons.
What's that? 4 years ago? 5 years ago? It's all very true, and we're all very thankful. But we can't keep sort of patting ourselves on the back and saying how badly you had it before we all walked in, because we know how badly we had it. We lived it.
Yeah, the owners are always going to do that about the old owners. But I mean, look, we were treading water for 20 years. I mean, bloody hell, we were just doing.
We were more than treading water, mate. We were going downhill. We were going downhill, towards the end rapidly.
We were just doing nothing. It was interesting, wasn't it? He wouldn't be drawn on whether or not, if we didn't go up this season, whether or not that would be seen as a failure.
Of course,
it would be seen as a failure, given I think that we were Bet 365 and other bookies' favourites to go up automatically. But let's pass judgment on that when we've played the 46 games. But what does come across is that he is really passionate about the area. He mentioned his own charity, didn't he, at the end of the conversation, which I thought was really good to help sort of families and individuals who are having to live in poverty currently. So brilliant. I mean, look, he has got the club crest tattooed on my skin, he said, didn't he? I mean, he did say that. So really good. So where we can take the mickey out of him sometimes. You get these kind of David Brentisms come through there. I mean, he did talk about the fan base as his fans at one point, didn't he? If my fans are going to be travelling for the Norwich game, you just sort of do chuckle at that. But I think
take that. Corporate.
Yeah. You've put that to one side. Actually, we've said before. We do make fun of him, but in all seriousness, we've said this before, Martin, quite a few times. he is one of the best signings of Ipswich Town in the modern era. Look what they've done in order to turn this club around. And what did he say about the new training ground when it opens in June? It's going to be the best sporting facility Suffolk has ever seen. Premier League level, elite sport level. I'd be excited to see that. I mean, brilliant. Let's just hope we've got a side that can deliver in the Premier League next season for us. Fingers crossed to go with all of this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you're right. His information on the foundation I thought was interesting, and it sounds like a foundation really playing an important part of the local community, which is something he believes in, is building up that community and building up not just, as he said, Ipswich Town Football Club, but Suffolk. I would absolutely still extend the hand of invitation to Mr. Ashton to appear on this show to actually answer questions that perhaps weren't put to him or wouldn't be put to him, to stop the conversation in regards to what you said there. Would it have been a propaganda piece from the football club, etc.? Because no better way of doing that than, as he has done before, sitting here with us, taking questions on questions he doesn't necessarily want to answer. I'm sure he's got answers for everything, but I like him. I do like him. I think he's genuine. I think he has genuine, the best interests.
The foundation is called his foundation is the Lentonbrook Foundation. Just so people know, if you're not aware, go and check it out. Like I say, helping families in poverty in the Suffolk area. So really good. And the American ownership has contributed money towards that as well. So brilliant. I mean, look,
it is the questions I don't like on these things. It is the questions I don't like. Some of the questions, like the cobble stand you mentioned there, I don't think we need to keep asking about the cobble stand when you've got half an hour, 15 minutes, an hour with one, the brain or head brain of the brain trust that runs our football club, because it will happen when it happens. You'll hear about it before it happens. They won't rock up one day with a bulldozer and a spade, stick the spade in the ground and say, right, that stand, have it down now. They'll tell you. And just to keep asking, I feel like it's a wasted question when you've only got a limited number of time, a limited number of questions. And it feels like if you keep asking that question, it's an easy question. They'll keep lining it up to him. They'll keep lining that up. If you keep giving them easy questions, the harder questions can get afforded to be left because they've got a bunch of easy ones. They can just do a Rod Stewart, dive into the bag, pull it out and go, we've been asked from Matt from Chelmsford. What about the cobble stand? Any new developments on that? Because he just says no, basically. Like, not really.
Well, it sounded like. I mean, I thought Graham Mack was really. I mean, look, Graham Mack's a really good broadcaster, isn't he? I thought he hosted it really well. It sounded like the club had approached BBC Suffolk to say, "There's a window of opportunity here for Mark to come on and answer questions." There could be a sense of management in these questions as well. I don't want anything too difficult to put him on the spot or anything that might expose future plans. I mean, that's kind of how it works.
You mean what are hard questions? I'll be interested to know what the hard questions are that he's not asked.
Oh, there'll be a load in the summer about recruitment. Believe me, I've got a 1,000,001 building every week.
He did answer that, didn't he, Lee? Yeah. I mean, he did say that.
There's no pushback on those, is there? There's no pushback.
You've got to read between the lines there, where he said he wasn't satisfied. He said he was never satisfied, didn't he? I got the impression that they didn't get the player in that they wanted to be the striker, the number 9. That was the impression I got, because he went into quite a lot of detail. A really good insight, I thought, in terms of how the deals work and stuff we've spoken about here before. Just because Ipswich come calling, we're Ipswich fans, doesn't mean players are suddenly going to turn around and go, I'm going to go there. And he said there's a multitude of different things. He said, like, it could come down to the family, or the player's partner might be having a baby, wants to stay in that local area. There's lots of variables that on these deals that we've touched before.
Yeah, you're chasing players that you're chasing players that aren't particularly interested in leaving. Sometimes you're going to get players in quickly that are within 6 months of their contract. I mean, Mehmete is a good example. But if you're going for a prime striker who's at a club where there's no thought of leaving, you're trying to prize that player away. So there's more facets to the deal. There's more things that have got to be right before that happens. If you've got a player that's free contract or come to 6 months, the club make them available because they want some money before the end of the season. Players can walk away for free. So the deals. I think we're really stretching our limit on what we're trying to attract and what we're trying to get, and we're really pushing the boundaries. But I think sometimes it's going to be to the detriment of getting somebody in because you've pushed it too far and not got, you've been really ambitious about what you're trying to get rather than just settle for second best in the long term. That's why Azon Deal was back on, I guess, and why we've got him on loan. And you bring, if you bring your second striker and he's on loan, it's clearly a sign that your key target in the summer you didn't get. That's how it would seem to me.
I think with Delap, I mean, the question I'd like to ask him is given that we knew we were probably going down February, March time from the Premier League, and we knew Delap was going, we knew that there was a relegation clause in there, 30 million or whatever it was, and he went to Chelsea pretty quickly, so much so that he plays in the club championship, doesn't he? The World Club Championship. Why didn't they replace? They still didn't replace him over 2 windows. I mean, that's always been our bugbear, hasn't it, Mike? I mean, you had all of the summer window, the summer window and the January window.
There was 2 summer windows.
Just goes back to what I said.
Oh, well, yeah, there was, wasn't there? Because of that tournament. Yeah, you're quite right.
Part 1 and part 2. So it's 3 windows technically. You probably get really technical about how many windows there was.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they're all things you want to ask though, right? And then we're going to get really open questions on that. And I want to move us on just because of time, and time is really escaping. We're at 55 minutes already. Thanks for being with us. Everyone here on Talking Town, hit the like button and then subscribe. If you found your home, become a 12th man, become a member today. Extra content, discount on your merchandise, our Etsy store, Talking Town Threads, and you help us to grow because we are fan powered here at Talking Town, for fans by fans, and we really appreciate it. We could probably talk about Mark Ashton all night long. He is that type of figure, and it's that type of love that we have for the football club. Very similar to our Mr. Ashton. I have got a voice message from our friend in Melbourne, which I'll play on Wednesday's show now, as that will fit Wednesday's show as well, which of course will be a match preview as we build up to a huge game at home to Millwall. We'll have a quick time out, and then I'm going to talk to you about your unsung heroes, your man of the matches from yesterday, just to complete that circle and bring it back round to that 3 points and that 2-0 win away Sheffield Wednesday. We've partnered with Stowmarket Osteopaths. Quality care in Stowmarket since 1985. That's a very long time delivering high quality care in osteopath and physiotherapy services. I go there myself. Give Freddie a call on 01449 613 633. That's 01449 613 633. Right then, you've already mentioned a couple of the players I think you're going to mention, particularly you, Max. I know what you were going to say, having been on the match reaction show. But Lee, I saw Chuba Akpom getting a lot of love from the Town fans on social media. Did you enjoy his performance when he came on yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he made a bit of a difference. I think it's quite noticeable, I think, different to Mehmeti, how he plays more technical. But as the game opened up, when the ball was going in to Akpom, he was receiving it a lot of the time on the half turn or his back to goal, but he was moving the ball out wide really quickly. 2 touches, and he was sort of, rather than skillfully getting himself away, and what I mean by that technically, though, like Mehmeti was like turn inside out and things, he was just getting the ball and driving away from the defender into the space that was then available because the game was open. So I thought he linked up when he got the ball. I thought he linked up pretty well, and and got the ball, moved the ball quickly, got the ball. The quicker you get the ball wider to the players, the more space they've got, the more time they've got to run at the defenders. So I thought for the cameo that he had, I thought, apart from all the obvious stuff, I thought he had a good cameo at the end there. Because I was a bit concerned. I wouldn't have took, you're taking your most creative player off and bringing on Akpom, who's almost could be a striker. And I was a bit fearful about what would he bring. Would he be able to unlock the defence with a pass, that sort of thing? But what he did do, he moved the ball onto somebody that was then going to. That's how it panned out. So fair play to him.
He's technically very good, is Akpom, and it really showed yesterday when he came on. And a player that isn't really big. Well, actually, I'll rephrase that question, Matt, to you, because a player that is spoken about quite a bit. But if he was stocks and shares, it would be up, down, up, down, up, down. You buy one week, you sell another week, and it's always a high when you buy and a low when you sell sometimes, or vice versa. Because fans just can't seem to make their mind up whether they hugely rate this player or where he plays, or if they don't rate him as highly as they thought previous weeks. And that's, of course, Jacob Greaves, who stepped back in for Cedric Kipre. How unjust that suspension is or is not, as Lee was alluding to earlier, he's got to serve it regardless. And Greaves stepped in, and I thought what did you think of his game, first and foremost?
Yeah, I thought he played really well. What I like about Greaves is when he is put back into the side these days, and he's been pretty much a cameo, hasn't he, across the certainly since, well, whenever, I can't even remember when Kit Pray came into the side really, but certainly Greaves has had to play second fiddle. He never kind of really lets you down. I mean, I'm just thinking back to Coventry where he plays at left back, played really well in that game. So much so that everyone's going, well, we don't need Leif Davis anymore. Just play Jacob Greaves there. That was a lot of comments were coming forward. Got the assist against Watford for the George Hurst goal. Comes in yesterday. All right, he's not playing. He's playing relegated opposition. Okay, so I mean, we're not playing Middlesbrough here or Mill or whatever. But I mean, really, just defensively, really, really good. You know, that block he did, I think, in the second half, superb. Always there for interceptions or clearances, recoveries. He's a £15 million player.
He is.
When we signed him, remember our whole City fan, Joe, I think it was saying, you know, this could be someone who goes on and plays for England. As he was, Delap took that conversation in the end, didn't he? So we, you know, I mean, again, impacting this from the squad players. When Greaves comes in, very rarely does he let you down. So I thought he was really good yesterday.
And of course, to give the whole fan his full name, Grandpa Joe, when he came on, which I know Matt absolutely loved at the time. Go and check out. That's a great show, by the way. Grandpa Joe, and he's like, what was he, 20? 21?
Oh, yeah. He certainly wasn't pensionable age, was he?
He wasn't he wasn't. Pensionable age is a great way of putting it. Tremendous show. Lee and Matt have been on top form. I have left meat on the bone intentionally, both just to annoy them both. So they both sit there and go, oh, I wanted to say this, I wanted to do that. And also, hopefully, to entice and enthrall you all at home. But thank you all for being with us. Not pretty, but it's another win. And the race has tightened. But Town are chasing. And it's almost advantage Ipswich. It could be. It should be. Who knows what lies ahead. We'll be there. Win, lose or draw every step of the way. So subscribe for all your Talking Town news, views, fan opinion and more. And we go again on the next show, live Wednesday, 8 p.m. with our match preview. But until then, you lot take care at home. All the best. God bless. We'll speak very soon. You've reached the end. Thanks for watching. Check out more videos.